Today on Songs of Praise, we're in the hilltop town of Shaftesbury in Dorset, a setting that inspired novelist Thomas Hardy and many others. It's also home to Gold Hill, made famous by an advert for a certain well-known bread. I'm here to meet legendary Radio 2 DJ Johnny Walker and his wife Tiggy. They live nearby and they've got an inspirational story to tell. In Carers Week, Johnny and Tiggy have some advice for carers and those being cared for.
If somebody is trying to help you in the best possible way they know how, accept the love.
And to mark the Queen's official birthday, I'm here at Woolwich Barracks to meet the King's Troop as they prepare for their part in the Queen's birthday celebrations, Trooping the Colour.
I've never done one before and I imagine it'll be frankly terrifying, just staying on your horse if nothing else.
And we meet the canine companion who's given a boy a new life.
Well, Caddy's guardian angel because I believe God made him to help me.
And of course, we've got great songs and hymns to inspire you, beginning with this one from Perth in Scotland by the hymn writer John Bell. It's estimated that across Great Britain, 6,000 people become carers every day, taking on responsibilities for a loved one who is old, ill, or has a disability. I've come here to Shaftesbury to meet a couple who had a very dramatic introduction to the challenges of caring and now want to raise the profile of carers. And with music a shared passion, I can't wait to meet them. DJ legend Johnny Walker made his name in the 60s with the pirate radio station Radio Caroline, and today he still pulls in his fans with his Radio 2 show Sounds of the 70s. But back in 2003, Johnny was diagnosed with cancer of the colon, just weeks after returning from honeymoon.
And I went round to the hospital and Johnny was stood on the steps outside the door and he opened up his arms to me and just went, "Tiggs, I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry."
We've walked down the aisle together and you made the vows about in sickness and in health, but you don't expect the sickness to happen within, 3 months.
So you were suddenly, unexpectedly thrust into the role of carer. What was that like?
Well, it was quite a shock. People think about caring as just being about practically, feeding somebody, making sure they take their pills, taking them to the hospital. But then there's the emotional side. You've got to carry the person that you love who is ill, but you actually can't tell them how you're suffering and how you're afraid. And it was tough.
Did you at that time have any sense of what Tiggy was going through?
Yeah, I wanted to be a good patient in the hospital. And then I would take out my frustrations, I think, on Tiggs. I remember the first time I went for chemotherapy at Bart's Hospital. Tiggy was just trying to be too helpful. And I said, oh, for God's sake, this is my cancer. I'll deal with it how I like. We had an argument outside Bart's and I stormed off into Bart's on my own.
Johnny stepped away from the airwaves to have chemotherapy and told his listeners that he was taking a break.
Onwards and upwards. I got so many letters and emails from listeners just wishing me well. Some listeners wrote to me and said, we're saying prayers for you in our local church. That was wonderful to know about that. So I was comforted by that.
Thankfully, Johnny got through his cancer, but then in 2013, the disease struck again. But this time it was Tiggy who was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was in complete shock. I've sobbed my way down the hospital corridors, assuming I was about to die.
Johnny, did you find the roles different when they were reversed?
Yeah, because as a carer, you really are concerned for the person who you just wish they weren't ill to begin with. And then you just want to be the best way of support that you can be.
Being a patient, you're suddenly, there's so much love thrown at you, but when you're the carer, you're very ignored. And whenever now we hear of somebody, a friend who is ill, I always say to their partner, how are you? How are you doing? Look after yourself.
You've both been through a lot. What are the things that matter to you most now?
I think it's the simple things in life. This beautiful view, which always just amazes us.
Now we live for the day and the moment much more than that thing of living for the future.
And in Carers Week, I would say to those being cared for, don't do what I did outside Bart's and sort of push her away. And somebody is trying to help you in the best possible way they know how. Accept the love.